Hey everybody, it's Emily, the Crazy Worm Lady. I'm here today with the carbon-only African nightcrawler bin for an update. My videos are going to be kind of off schedule, and some are going to be early, some are going to be late this week, so I apologize for that. I will get back to normal scheduling pretty soon here, but I wanted to take a peek and see how these African nightcrawlers were doing with our carbon sources. And the moisture actually feels good using the cover that I have. If you remember, I'm using the landscape fabric to cover this all up. But I've got quite a few really healthy looking worms in here. They don't look skinny or unhealthy at all. They look great. So that's encouraging. So let's see. Let's just kind of do a quick turnover of the bin. Some people don't like turning their bins up a lot. They find that it's kind of like disturbing their worms. But in my opinion, there's a cocoon right there. If I can get him. He's running away, knocking it down. But I don't mind turning my bins up. I actually think it's good to kind of help aerate the castings, keep them from getting muddy, and to just be able to see how the worms are doing. So actually this is a little piece of corn cob we have left, but again we're not feeding any additional food at this point. It's going to be all carbon. There's another cocoon right there, yellow, so it's freshly laid, and the worms just look fantastic. I really do think they're going to do great in here, but nonetheless, I didn't exactly know what to expect. Another cocoon. Oh, that's awesome. So it's looking really, really good. I'm seeing some smaller baby worms, so we know that the bin conditions are at least conducive to the cocoons hatching. You know, they wouldn't hatch and the worms wouldn't be laying cocoons if they felt like they didn't have a good environment to live in. So they're kind of all spread out, which I expected with this experiment, because there's not one area that has food that they would congregate around. However, it looks like the corners where it's a little bit more moist is kind of where they're hanging out. But I feel like we're off to a really good start, for sure. So there's lots of bedding in here. I don't know if I'm going to add any today. I'm going to think about it for a minute. But I am going to just finish turning this bin up so we can see if there's anything else exciting going on. And they just look great. Maybe I'm partial, but I love the African nightcrawlers. I wish they would show their flashing a little bit more frequently on the camera, but it really depends on the lighting. But if the lighting is just right, there's literally neon flashes that they kind of emit along their tail portion, and it's super cool to see. I'll see if I can find one of my videos where you can see those, and I'll link it below so you can see what I'm talking about. But these are by far, in my opinion, the coolest looking worms. They can be somewhat temperamental. You know, they like it a little bit warmer. They're a tropical worm. But in general, they're just really efficient composters, and they love the carbon sources. And that's why I wanted to see how they would do in this type of bin. So again, this is a much larger bin than a lot of my other ones. This is a 15-gallon, but it's much deeper. For some reason, 15-gallon seems so much bigger than the 10-gallon, but regardless, I was a little bit worried that since it was mainly carbon, it would dry out. There's another cocoon. But I do think it makes a big difference that we started this bin with worms that had already had some castings mixed in with them. So I think that got them off to a good start, because those castings really, really hold in the moisture. and that will prevent this bin from drying out. I mean, the surface might get a little bit dry here and there because of not keeping a lid on, but I don't think it's going to be problematic at all. So I feel like I'm rambling on, but I'm really impressed with how well this is going. And at least I think a lot of you like just looking at the worms. So maybe you're just like me, I don't know. But definitely going good, definitely not overly compact anywhere. There's a big mess of worms there. So I think I will add just a little bit of bedding today. I have like a whole stack of like toilet paper and paper towel rolls in the other room, so I'm gonna go grab those and we're gonna kind of bury those down in the bottom so that they can get nice and moist and the worms can get to work for them, and that will be really easy for us then to see how fast things are breaking down. We did add these shreds last week and it's not looking like a whole lot is happening with them just yet, but I think my worms really enjoy the cardboard type material. So it'd be interesting to see if these break down first or the toilet paper rolls. So I'm gonna come down here to this corner and I'm gonna bury up the newspaper, because if it's not thoroughly covered, again, it's not gonna be able to break down very easily. So now that's all covered, and I'm going to dig up a trench here in the middle, and this is where we will put our toilet paper, paper towel rolls. So let me go grab those. We'll add a little bit of grit, maybe a hair of water, and we will leave these guys to it. Okay, so I dug this trench up really nice in the bottom, and this is always a good indication that your moisture level is good. There should never be standing liquid in the bottom of your bin. And despite having some of these ridges down here, there's absolutely no standing liquid at all. You want your castings to be moist, but never more moist than if you would squeeze a handful of it, like a drop or two would come out. Because there needs to be air circulation, and if it's so compact and wet, it can get acidic or like anaerobic, which causes some issues. So I decided to dunk these toilet paper rolls in some water as opposed to sprinkling the bin. So, you know, these are nice and wet, but they're not saturated that I have to worry about it being too moist. Some of these are unrolling a little bit on me, but we can still see that these are going in very much whole. And I have two more. All right, so those are all added. I'm gonna add a little bit of eggshell here because, of course, even though this is all carbon, we still need a grit source for the worms. Make sure they don't get string of pearls disease, which is where the food ferments in their gut, and carbon is considered food. And if that happens, the gas builds up and the worms' bodies like pinch off into little segments, just like a pearl necklace, and unfortunately it's pretty much a death sentence for your worms. That's why pretty much anybody you see making worm videos will always talk about adding grit and why that's important. And the grit just helps masticate the food in the worm's gizzard so that they don't get sick. So I think I have all of like the big pieces of bedding mostly covered up now. So on the right hand side over here we have all of the newspaper from our original start date last week, and in the middle here we have the toilet paper rolls. So all I have to do now is put my cover back on here, and as I pick it up it's unfolding on me, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's mainly just to keep the light out and to hold the moisture in a little bit while still being able to breathe. So that's the update for today, guys. I hope you're learning something. Let me know if you've ever tried a carbon only bin, and we'll leave it for another week. So let me know what you think. Drop those comments below, like this video, subscribe if you'd like some more content from me, and I'll be back with you guys real soon for an update. Thanks for joining me.